Again, folks, this is a video for CCNY Music Theory Fundamentals. And today we're looking at chapter 3, our first introduction to meter, the rhythm and meter. All of these go hand in hand. And meter is the foundational time, meter and rhythm, time aspect of music. We've learned about pitch. That's the what you can think of as kind of the vertical aspect of music. A single pitches go up or down and register, but pitches are also long or short, and meter is this organizing principle of rhythm. There's a reason why things kind of repeat with the same kind of rhythmic idea. There's a reason you count 1, 2, 3, 4 over and over again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Why don't you just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? Why don't you just count forever? You probably haven't thought about that, but the reason why is because of meter. Okay, so we're going to explore some of that in this review, first review of chapter 3 today. Let's take a look at your textbook and just flesh things out as we usually do. So before we even figure out what meter is, we need to understand the mechanics, the different components that make up a meter. And the first is a beat. And we're used to talking about a beat as something, as some kind of general thing that's in music, like the track, or just the non-lyrical side of things, right? You're just saying that's a really good beat. You often mean a bunch of different sounds combined together for a whole swath of a piece of music. But more fundamentally, and in music theory, a beat is a pulse. You can think of it that way. So when you're tapping your feet or bobbing your head to something, those things are individual beats, right? So they're evenly spaced. And when we talk about that, when you're sort of ta, boom, boom, ba, boom, ba, those single, although I'm emphasizing one differently, right? I'm going palm, hand, or sorry, fist, palm, fist, palm. Those things are more or less evenly spaced. So each one of those is a beat. So a lot of times beats are happening even if they're not articulated, okay? But anyway, the primary pulse of something you can think of as a beat. In the same way your pulse, if you check your pulse, now pulses can go up and down, but generally it kind of repeats at the same speed. Think of a clock, that's the easiest example. A second hand moves at exactly the same speed all the time, whether it's 1:30 or 12:20. It always takes 60 ticks of a clock to get through 1 minute, okay? Now, the beat subdivision, this is the secondary pulse that you see here. We hear these individual beats, but oftentimes they're smaller beats. These are divided beats that are sometimes articulated, sometimes not, but usually implied in a lot of different ways. And I'll show you a couple examples of that here in a minute. But oh, sorry, yeah. So this key concept, pieces with beats that divide into two are in simple meter, okay? And you'll see what that means. Let's listen to their example here. So here's Oh Susanna, let's listen.
Oh Susanna, oh don't you cry for me.
Okay, one more time.
Oh Susanna, oh don't you cry for me.
So if you're tapping along to that, right? Clapping or bobbing your head, then this is the beats, right? Oh, Susanna, don't you cry for me. Notice that the lyric is not always just on beats. Oh, Susanna, right? Sana, look at this part that I'm highlighting here. Notice how, oh, Susanna, there's beat 2 here, right? Here's the 2. And nothing happens in the lyrics. Sana, nothing happens on my clap. So, oh, Susanna, 2, right? That's this 2 right here. Oh, Susanna, oh, don't, right? So not music or words, lyrics, sounds of the melody won't always happen on 2. But again, the beats are just that primary pulse.
Oh, Susanna, oh, don't you cry for me.
I'll try to count you along here on the page. Ready? Oh, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, right? So that's our primary pulse. Now, notice all we're hearing is someone sing. So this pulse that we tap, as I just explained, isn't being played by a drummer. It's not being played by any other instrumentalist or being sung. We're just sort of feeling that pulse, even when it's not there. The same goes for the pulse division, the beat subdivision. And notice how this is twice as fast, right? So we're going to tap, or I'm going to clap the beat subdivision divisions here.
Oh, Susanna, oh, don't you cry for me.
Ta 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 ta. Oh, Susanna, won't you cry for me? So it's twice as fast. Oh, Susanna, don't you cry for me? Okay, so that's subdividing. So besides dividing, primary beats also group in 2s, 3s, and 4s. So we divide, notice, sorry, I should have mentioned this, but we're counting 1, 2, 1, 2. We're not counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, etc. There's a kind of natural way that you hear music and that you count it. So I wouldn't count, listen to how weird this sounds. I'm going to play Oh Susanna again and count it in groups of 3 beats, right? So here's the original in beats groups of 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And here's it gonna sound really weird. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It doesn't make any sense, right? So this song is grouped in a way, its beats are organized in a way where we count them in groups of 2. Yeah, so that's that. And now here's one that does group into 3. Okay. My country, 'tis of thee. Notice how they have it counted out here.
My country, 'tis of thee.
Right. So if we count along, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Right. This isn't the greatest example because they only give you 2 measures. But we'll listen to a couple of more. But this is the most important point here. A meter tells you, I'm just basically reading here, it tells you a couple things. Number 1, how its beats are divided. That is, are they divided into groups of 2, into groups of 3, usually something like that. And also how they are grouped. When beats are grouped in 2s, the meter is called duple. So this first one, Oh Susanna, 1, 2, Susanna, 2, won't you group for 1, 2. That's a duple meter. That's easy to remember. Duo, duple means 2. When they are grouped into 3s, like My Country, 'Tis of Thee, the meter is triple. And when they are grouped into 4s, the meter is quadruple. And that's very common too. So now how do we figure out just by listening what meter a piece of music is in? And your book suggests these 3 steps here. Listen for the beat and tap with your foot, bob your head, clap your hands, any of those things. Listen for the beat subdivision, or beat division as it calls it. Simple meters will divide beats into 2 parts. And this will go into that more, but notice how division here, again, for every beat, there's 2 divisions. This is the main beat, this is the division. Same thing is happening here. There's 1 beat and the division is 2 taps, tap, tap for 1 beat. Same here, even though this is laid out. Beat, the second beat, 2 taps. We'll see that there's other very common meters where each beat is divided into 3, and we'll get there later. But if it's divided into 2, then it's called simple, right? Simple meters are divided beats into 2 parts, and that's all we're dealing with in this chapter is simple meters. And then you listen for the grouping of the beats. Now let me stop sharing this for a second. Go. Let me play a couple songs for you, just a snippet of a few of them. And give me 1 second. Okay. Where's my music? So let's listen to this one first.
I hear the ticking of the clock. I'm lying here, the room's pitch dark.
So if you're trying to figure out the meter there, what are the steps that you're doing? First, you're trying to tap your foot or clap your hands or bob your head, whatever, and count along and see if you naturally are counting in groups of 2, groups of 3, or groups of 4. Let's listen again. This is how I feel this. Does everyone agree with that? Okay, that seems to make sense. So that's our pulse. Those are our individual beats, right? That much we know. But now we have to figure out how they're grouped together. Am I counting this as 1, 2, 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? That's duple, triple, or quadruple. What kind of meter is that? So let's listen again. So hopefully you recognize what this isn't right away, or pretty quickly, which is that it's not triple. You would not count this as 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, right? That feels totally off, and that's not what's going on there. Now, what you'll find is that duple and quadruple meter often feel very, very similar. You need to understand what the difference is, but we can have disagreements about whether a song is in duple or triple meter, but we can't have disagreements about whether something is in triple meter or not, right? So this one to me feels like it's in quadruple. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? But you might say that you feel like it's in duple, like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, right? And I wouldn't really put up a fight against you. So either one of those feels about right, but it's certainly not in triple meter. Now, how are the beats subdivided? Right? Or how are they the division? Your book likes to say division. Well, in this case, we have a synthesizer, a keyboard, playing the division for us. Because remember, this is our beat. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So remember that the division of the beat is twice. If it's divided in 2, it would be, so if this is 2, 3, 4. What's twice that speed? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, And we like to count this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So I'm still clapping on 1, 2, 3, 4, but I'm adding other claps and I'm saying the word and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it's not 1, 2 and 2, right? It's not 3 divisions, it's 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. The division is 2 groups per beats, like we saw with Oh Susanna and My Country 'Tis of Thee. So we have all of the ingredients to say that song's called Alone by the band Heart, great band. It is in, I'm saying quadruple meter, you might say duple, but let's say quadruple for the sake of this lesson. It is in simple quadruple meter, simple quadruple meter. Simple because the beats are divided into groups of 2, and quadruple because there's 4 beats that repeat, right? So that is our meter. Let's hear something that's not, well, I just gave it away. That's not in just simple quadruple. Okay. So first, what's our first step? We figure out where the beats are, just tapping to the beats. We're not even deciding yet where or how they're grouped or how they're divided. So let's listen again. That's our individual pulse, or our pulse. Okay, now how does it feel like those beats are grouped and repeated? Well, so remember our options: duple, groups of 2, triple, groups of 3, quadruple, groups of 4. Let's, it may be obvious to you already, so let's try duple. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Feels wrong and off and rushed, right? Let's try triple, starting again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That feels much better, right? And indeed, this is a song in triple meter. Now, is it simple? Remember that that's when beats are divided into groups of 2. We don't get as much clarity on this one, on this song, as we did the last. But if you listen to, or feel and listen to this music, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 in, right? Groups of 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1. Okay, so divided into groups of 2, 3 beats. That is a simple triple meter, right? And that's really, I think, well, let me say a couple more things just about this section. We discussed tempo and dynamics. There's no real reason you need to know all of these Italian names for different tempo unless you're going to be a concert musician. But you should, keep a copy of the diagram on page 48 handy for different tempi. Tempi is plural for tempo. And for dynamics, it's pretty easy to remember these things. As long as you remember that piano is the Italian term for soft, and forte is the Italian term for loud, and they're designated by that little p and a little f. Piano is soft, forte means loud, and mezzo means medium. Then you have really the largest range. 2 p's together is pianissimo, 2 f's together, and that means really, really soft. 2 f's together is double forte or fortissimo. That's really loud. And then there's in between, which is mezzo piano, mezzo forte, medium soft, medium loud. So like these probably won't come up in your musical life all that much, but they could, and that one's easy enough to know. And uh, so in page 49, I think, is all these different dynamic levels. Keep those things handy as well. That sort of chart, copy paste it, write it down, be able to refer to it easily enough. And we don't need to worry about conducting at all for this class. We're not conducting with one another. I doubt you'll be conducting much in your musical life. And if you aspire to that, there's plenty of classes in the future where you can deal with that. So yeah, no worries about those things. And I think that's really it for today, for this part 1. And we'll deal with these greater or more, I don't know, and we'll get more into the weeds of different notation for different rhythm and meter. But that's it for right now. Okay, I'll see you all soon. Take care.